Let's talk Steelers. It's kickoff time for the Cigar International's Let's Talk Steelers show. Sponsored by Cigars International. Stop by our Bridgeville store today. Parking Chair Vodka. Respect the chair. It's a Pittsburgh thing. Forest Lodge and Campground. Cooks Forest, PA. Your adventure starts here. Visit Canton, Ohio. Red Fox Winery and Lounge. Let's talk Steelers.
Huddle up, Steelers Nation. It's Tank and Mike from Cigars International in Bridgeville, Pennsylvania. Mike, Mike McMahon, my co-host. Well, he's feeling sick. He's got the flu bug. He's down for the holidays. He had too much of that eggnog. So it's me, Tantlinger, here from Cigars International in Bridgeville. We're going to talk all things Steelers this week. We're going to preview the, Baltimore Ravens game here in about 2 weeks. They're missing their quarterback. Fear not the Ravens evermore. Then we've got to go up to Cleveland and take on the brown man of Cleveland and their fans up there. Other than the Philadelphia fans, I can't think of a worse fan base in all of pro football than Cleveland Browns fans. But we got to start with knocking off the Motor City Kitties up there in Detroit. You know, Steelers Nation took over Detroit last week. It was kind of hearkening back to the Super Bowl when we went up there and it was 0 degrees and the wind was blowing off Lake Superior, and Jerome Bettis, well, he got his Super Bowl ring for him and made Bill Cowher happy along the way too. It was a must-win game for the Detroit Lions. You know, a lot of the Detroit Lions fans are complaining that now that Ben Johnson is gone down to Chicago, he was the heart and soul of that offense, and he took his big brain with him down to Chicago, and Dan Campbell is floundering at this point. I don't know about all of that, but I do know this when we look at this game. The Detroit Lions running game was prolific coming into this matchup against your Pittsburgh Steelers. Your Steelers defense stepped up. They played fast and they played aggressive. Let's break this down on the defensive line to begin with. Well, Cam Hayward, he seems ageless at this point in his career, and he is the bedrock and foundation of that defensive line. Benton has come on in the last 2 to 3 years, and you're really seeing him mature into a quality defensive lineman. One of the things I liked about your Pittsburgh Steelers against this beat-up Detroit Lions offensive line is they came off the ball fast and hard. If you listen to Mike and I talk all season, there's a technique right now being played amongst the NFL and college players where a defensive lineman will lock on to the offensive guard, center, or tackle, then read off of them and get to the ball. I hate that technique. It allows running backs that are quick and effective to get by them and pick up 10 to 12 yards just like this. It seemed as if the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line was being a lot more aggressive, a lot more penetrative into the gaps this week, and it bore fruit. You know, TJ Watt, well, I don't blame him for not coming back. Can you only imagine playing football with a collapsed lung, getting it repaired, then saying, hey, get back in the game? Alex Highsmith had one of his best days as a Steeler professional. Again, talking about speed off the edge. Speed off the edge. They were in Jared Goff's face all day long. Of course, the young kid out of Ohio State, Jack Sawyer, I am high on him. I don't know long-term if he's an outside linebacker. Inside linebacker complementing Peyton Wilson may be where he is down the road. Speaking of Alex Highsmith and young Jack Sawyer, again, on pass support, they were awesome. They got after Goff. I loved it. It was like two jaguars chasing down a gazelle in the African Serengeti. They got Jared Goff off his mark, and it paid dividends. Although you did see Goff in that Lions offense exploit the middle of the field and attack Patrick Queen, who's been so vulnerable all year to those over and crossing routes in the middle and the deep middle as well. When you talk about Sawyer and you talk about Highsmith on their run coverage, once again, using the cheetah analogy, they were flying off those corners. They were running down the line in the scrimmage. Gibbs, while he did not have an outstanding day, it was one of the best running attacks in the whole NFL, and your Pittsburgh Steelers front shut them down. Now let's talk about your Steelers secondary. I was really hard on Joey Porter earlier in the season and going back to last season. It was almost as if the game had passed him by at the professional level and he couldn't play without grabbing onto a tight end or a wide receiver. He's put his hands in the pocket. He's learned to have confidence in his abilities, and he can play with some of the very best wide receivers in the league. So I'm going to give a game ball to Joey Porter, who did such a great job. Eccles goes down, and your Swiss Army knife, Mr. Ramsey, stepped out of the safety position and into a nickel corner position. And again, this is a high-powered passing team with the Detroit Lions. That secondary held up against the Lions, destroyed their dreams of going into the postseason and chasing a Super Bowl. All right, I've got to give my hat off to Mike Tomlin and his coaching staff. Tomlin has always said to be a viable Super Bowl contender, you have to be a team on the rise in December. After the Bills debacle, who amongst us in Steelers Nation would have expected that they've gone on a 3-game winning streak? And I don't want to get a little cocky, but understand this, you old school Steelers Nations fans, the old saying of, I got a feeling. You can hear it rising a little bit. I don't want to get too cocky, but maybe there's a little magic, just like in Frosty the Snowman's hat, for this Pittsburgh Steelers team this year. All right, let's go into the locker room right now, hear from some of your favorite players, including the star of the game, maybe with the catch of the year in the NFL, Kenneth Gainwell. Who doesn't love us some Kenneth Gainwell at this point, man? This guy comes over from the Eagles. He is productive both in the run game, the pass game. He's a team player. Thunder and lightning with Jaylen Warren and Gainwell. Well, just incredible combination of running back there.
Obviously, we were praying and hoping that the refs didn't turn the other way, but shout out to the defense for holding up.
You have to feel pretty good, not only on the sideline in that moment, just watching, waiting in those seconds.
This game is the reason why I got gray hair. It's stressful, but obviously we have faith in the defense. We're just hoping to get a call our way, so we did.
Not only the win, but nearly 500 yards of offense, and you guys really established a run here tonight too.
Yeah, this is a collective group, a collective effort, and we just came out and tried to execute the game plan.
No, it gave me a couple flashbacks to a few games, but obviously the way that ended, craziest game in 13 years, other than the Minneapolis Miracle probably. Yeah, crazy game.
What about what this offense was able to do? Nearly 500 yards, especially you busted, what was it, 3 45-yard touchdown runs.
Yeah, obviously we have a lot of confidence in just the playmakers and the offensive line, obviously the quarterback and offense coordinator, and just kind of plugging away and just trying to be ready for a performance like this, and we knew no one doubted that we could do something like that. And again, you have a lot of guys that can do a lot of things in this offense and be versatile and help this team be not just one-dimensional but two-dimensional.
Do you feel like that Kenny Gainwell play at the end of the first half kind of really turned things around for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. A huge play, obviously to score a touchdown over a field goal to end the half and then get the ball after half. That's huge, right? So huge momentum on the road. What a play, and I hadn't seen a play like that before either.
Have you ever been part of a game-ending situation like that?
No, that was crazy. Like, you dream of those moments, so the fact that I got to play that was dope. I'm going to be thinking about that all night.
Mike Tomlin was coming off the field and he said 7 shots for goal. We live this life. Just how much of an emphasis, of course, do you guys put on that, but just how much did that play a factor into this one play for the game?
We kind of knew it. When they was driving down the field and they got in the red zone, we was already thinking red zone football, 7 shots. We live.
Who is that man with the big cigar? He's known around from near and far That actor man with the big cigar. He puffs away every night and day with a twinkle in his eye. And all the while, behind that smile lurks many an untold lie. Down Whitehall Way, you'll see his car. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere with the big cigar.
Parking chair vodka. Respect the chair. It's a Pittsburgh thing.
Lawrenceville Distilling.
Let's talk Steelers.
Hey, it's time for this week's Parking Chair Vodka Shot of the Week. You know, Parking Chair Vodka is made by Lawrenceville Distilling, and it is smooth. There you go. Parking Chair Vodka. You got to get some next time you're parking a chair out in front of your house. You know, the shot of the week is kind of a shot at every idiot fan that buys a ticket to a sporting event, you know, these days. You know, they think that they can run their mouth. They think they can do whatever they want. You got the crazy lady with the Philly shirt this year taking a ball off a kid. She's a moron. Then you got the guy at the U.S. Tennis Open. He's stealing stuff off a kid. Now you got this clown messing with Metcalf. And let me tell you something, DK is a class act. All you got to do is go listen to his interviews. He says, yes, sir. He says, no, ma'am. He does everything correct. So this shot of the week is that every moron fan that just thinks they can run their mouth, do whatever they want because they bought a ticket. You know, I'm old school Pittsburgh, and back in the day, if you were a jagoff, you got knocked on your ass. Will you punch me in the solar plexus right now? Oh, there it is. No. Oh, no. Oh. Day. See, that was too formal. I should just go like that.
I know, exactly. Thank you. Hey, first of all, thanks for knocking me over, Tank.
Ow, my hands.
I fall over very easy nowadays.
Ow.
Yeah, right.
You know what? Tunch and Wolf are missed every single day, not just because of the fact that they were famous football players, not the fact that Tunch and Wolf did so much. You know, they were good announcers too, but why they're really missed is because they were good guys. I knew both of them personally. I love both of them. Old offensive linemen, you know, tend to get along. And they've really left a void with the community outreach they've done, specifically with the Light of Life Ministries here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Annie's joining us today. She got her black and gold on. I love it.
Yep, got to rock out the Light of Life in the Stil'rs country.
I love it. We're going to have to get something to Tunch and Wolf and, you know, just to memorize them every year. Tell the folks what you do at Light of Life Ministry.
Yeah, so Light of Life has been serving Pittsburgh's homeless community for the last 70 plus years, since 1952. We serve the homeless, those that suffer from addiction or mental health. And probably over the last decade or so, we found that not only the homeless community is in need of help, but those that are on the brink of homelessness. So this past year, we actually opened up an outreach center, and within that outreach center has our food pantry, our donation center, free store, and then just this past year as well, we decided to partner with another nonprofit ministry called Off the Floor Pittsburgh. And so what they do is they provide furniture for people transitioning out of homelessness. So if you are someone that ends up getting, off the street and you're trying to start a new life for
Sure,
yourself.
it's not easy.
It's not easy
It's
at all.
not easy if things are going right in
yeah.
life. Life is difficult.
Yeah.
Think about it. Even if you have a job and everything's going great, I always say life is like rice paper. It's very thin, it's very fragile, and your heart goes out, to somebody. Maybe the husband passed away, and next thing you know, you've got 3 or 4 kids you're trying to feed and get on their feet, like you said, with housing.
Yes, yeah. A lot of people are still trying to not only obtain their housing, obviously with affordability and rents going up and groceries going up. There's a lot of people that were never on the brink of homelessness, and now they sort of find themselves living paycheck to paycheck because things are just increasing. But then, of course, if you're homeless, it's just that much harder to sort of dig yourself out of that hole, which is why Light of Life exists, right? And that's something that Tudge would always say. His famous quote was, "Once you walk into the doors of Light of Life, you're never the same." And we like to say that hope begins with a meal. So if you are someone who's homeless and you just come in simply for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you can then get exposed to our other services and programs that will help sort of get you out of the reasoning why you became homeless to begin with, because everybody's story is different.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Now, what was it, like a 5K walk the guys used to have? Are we still continuing that?
So, just a little bit of background, I guess, about Touch and Wolf and their involvement with the mission. For over 40 years, around 40 years, those two guys were serving at the mission. It started back in the 80s, and then for about 20 years, we had the Touch and Wolf Walk for the Homeless.
Yeah.
And so they've raised millions of dollars over those years just using their platform to help people less fortunate, to help the homeless, because that's what they truly believed in. We eventually retired the walk after Touch's passing, and Wolf agreed to do a memorial golf outing to help raise money for the mission instead, which is actually funny at the time with Wolf, because apparently those two hated golf and we ended up doing the golf.
Yeah, I know they did. I know they did. I tried to get them to a couple of other golf events, and they're like, we'll ride around in a cart and smoke cigars. Look, if you didn't know Touch and Wolf, I'm telling you, what they brought to television was who they were all the time. They were two madmen. And, God has a purpose with everybody, I believe. And he just decided to bring them home a little bit earlier. Well, how can people help other people? We're strong here in Yunzer's Nation. We're strong in Stil'rs Nation. It's Christmas time. It's the giving time of year. Like my church over here in Mount Lebanon, we have a donation box. I plan to go down to Walmart, get some new items, and put in there. How many more new socks do I need? I cannot have some cigars, and put a couple cigars away to help some other people in need out, not only at the holiday season, but year long with Light of Life Ministries. How do people help you? How do they help their friends and neighbors?
So one of the great things about Pittsburgh is that we are from the city where Mr. Rogers is from, right? So we learned at an early age.
I'm from Latrobe.
See, there you go.
I would see him walking around. I go, there he goes.
I love that.
Him and Arnold Paul.
Yes, can't forget about Arnold Paul. If we are learning from the great Mr. Rogers, that he taught us to help our neighbors, right? Love our neighbors. And the great thing about Light of Life is there's plenty of different ways that people can give back besides just, of course, like a monetary donation. Our volunteers are really the heart of what we do at the mission. We have so many volunteers, so many different opportunities that go beyond just, serving a meal over the kitchen line. And of course, we need other donations. Right now we're doing a winter coat drive. We're trying to actually get 1,000 winter coats in.
Are those new or used? Can I give you a nice used Columbia I have?
For sure, yes. Even if it's used, it's gently used or new, and we're always in need of clothing. Of course, if you have any furniture that you'd like to donate, you can now donate that to Off the Floor. And all of that is housed in our outreach center, which is actually right across the street from our emergency shelter building.
And that's on the north side,
yeah,
right?
On the north side.
North side, up there where, Mr. Rooney's house is.
And of course, you can go to lightoflife.org if you want to have like a full encompassing experience as to all the ways that you can give back to the mission. But I just encourage people, we always encourage people, do what's on your heart. That's what Touching Wolf did. They would just come to our emergency shelter on a random Tuesday night with their families just to serve. Media wasn't there. It didn't matter to them. That's just what they wanted to do. That's what was in their hearts. So if you have a heart for women and children, we have a women and children's program as well. So you can give back to that in a number of different ways. So there's a lot that you can be doing year-round, but specifically this time of year for Christmas, there's a lot of people outside. I mean, it's like 17 degrees outside right now. So winter clothing, monetary donations so we can keep the meals going and the programs going, all of that goes such a long way.
I love it. Look, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, if you miss Tunch and Wolf like we all do, who knew them, or if you just want to help somebody that's in need, you can't find any better organization in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania than Light of Life. Now again, you're in the north side. What do they call that thing? The old you get on the Google machine and you type things in. I think they call it a website. What's the website?
Yes, so our website would be the www.lightoflife.org.
I love it. It's right down there below. If you miss Tunch and Wolf, if you want to help your Pittsburgh neighbors, help a beautiful cause in Pittsburgh. Happy holidays. Look, it's Mr. Rooney.
Who is that man with the big cigar? He's known around from near and far. That actor man with the big cigar. He pops away every night and day with a twinkle in his eye. And all the while, behind that smile lurks many an untold lie. Down Whitehall Way, you'll see his car. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere with the big cigar.
Parking chair vodka. Respect the chair. It's a Pittsburgh thing.
Lawrenceville Distilling.
Let's talk Steelers.
Hey, don't forget about Forest Lodge and Campground. I was up there this fall. It's beautiful. Go north of Pittsburgh, Cook's Forest. You're going to love it up there. You can drink beer and talk Steelers all day long around beautiful fire pits at Forest Lodge and Campground.
During my sophomore year, I got a DM on Instagram, and I had heard about, another kid named Jack Sawyer who's in Ohio and grew up in Cleveland, who's only 2 hours away from me, who was battling a rare form of cancer. And, for me, I just felt like I needed to do something. I wrote him a note, and so I had my sister get a little poster, and I signed it for him and wrote him a little something for him, and I sent it to him.
Jack B. suffered from Ewing sarcoma, a rare and aggressive bone cancer, but through his treatments, he never left the thoughts and prayers of the other Jack.
You know, having a kid with my same name, 2 hours away, going through, you know, battling for his life every day and still getting up with a smile on his face. And then unfortunately, later that year of my junior season, it came back and spread, and he unfortunately passed away.
Sawyer carried Jack B. with him through the remainder of his Ohio State career, and now can bring his legacy to the NFL.
I always put him on my wrist in college, and to be able to do it with my cause, my cleats, you know, it means a lot to me because me and him got really close, and I still talk to his family, his mom and his dad. His mom and dad and his uncle were actually at the first home game this season. Got to see my first sack.
Darnold is sacked, first career sack for Jack Sawyer.
You know, he still has a special place in my heart. His football card sits inside of my truck in the console. It goes with me everywhere, and always thinking of him. You know, every time I see it or I put on the hoodie that I have, you know, I just think of Jack. You know, Jack was going through a lot, you know, in his final days, and I was able to talk with him on FaceTime before we played Wisconsin my junior year. And, you know, he couldn't even get out of bed, and he still had a big smile on his face, and, you know, still woke up and watched us play. Just seeing how he was able to attack every day, you know, while he was battling with life-altering, you know, disease, you know, just gives inspiration to me. And, you know, no matter what I was able to do for him, you know, he did more for me. You know, seeing him struggling, but always, you know, showing up with a smile on his face and being the good kid that he was, you know, it speaks for itself.
That man with the big cigar, he's known around from near and far. That actor man with the big cigar, he pops away every night and day with a twinkle in his eye, and all the while behind that smile lurks many an untold lie. Down Whitehall Way you'll see his car. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere with the big cigar.